Greetings, I'm Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Woo!
So
All right.
we are back into the Arcana and into Book 10, Chapter 2 with Julian.
And I think this is, episode 13? Dang.
It is actually 13, so we are making progress, but we are still worried about the boys' safety, so there's that.
Oh my. Of all the places to wind up.
I know, right?
Sorry, and I apologize, guys. I am like, ooh, I'm realizing I'm a little nasally right now.
We'll do our best. I mean, we don't know.
I just caught up. It's fine.
Julian's also trying to be, he's trying to be incognito. Maybe it works. Who knows?
I had a different voice for that. It's fine.
It's true.
All
right. A chill raises goosebumps on my arms, but I hesitate. My eyes fixed on the end of the hallway. So are we upstairs or downstairs? Where did we go?
This is apparently Lucio's room, but I'm like, everything would have changed, but we didn't change the outside. And then when they put up new portraits on the walls, they all got their eyes popped out, kind of thing, basically.
Or cut out, yeah,
right?
Exactly. So I'm going, did they fix it all up and then he vandalized it all again, killing the lights and tearing up the portraits? Like, what happened?
I know, I'm like, why has this maintained itself?
Like, the ghost thing is messing everything up. The weird shadow that threw Portia off the ladder.
Right?
I say threw, like you really just grabbed it. All right. We didn't get to search Lucio's room thoroughly earlier, not under Nadia's watchful eye. So we are going with, they did redo everything. Did they just leave the corridor like shit?
Yeah, I'm like, why would you do that? I'm also like, when you light the lights? Well, the lights keep going out and then nobody wants to keep putting them out. Which, I mean, if everybody's terrified of that corridor, that would make sense. But it'd also be like, why, Nadia, then did you get the nerve up to be like, let's go fix it all?
And then nothing happened. I don't know, maybe they did. Maybe they went and fixed it all, and then it did immediately just all tear itself apart. Or maybe a bunch of other crap started happening after we walked away.
It's true, but then again, we don't really talk to anybody in this game, apparently, other than Julian at this point, and vaguely Portia. Asher showed up for maybe a hot second, and then Nadia is sort of like, over there,
and doesn't even notice when we're gone or
we're doing a 3-point shot, and she is in the 4-point league. Like, it is not happening.
I say, but like, the experience of going, Portia's, her handmaiden and in charge of and connected to everything, right?
But,
so hang on, so if we're staying, like at Portia's house or there regularly with Julian, what have you, why would she not mention, well, we decided to revamp the room. Well, that was a dumbass move you made. Well, nothing. We didn't talk about anything. Like, nobody ever mentions anything that happens before.
The level of servant gossip that I assume, because people in work situations talk. That was actually one of the biggest stereotypes, and actually people in higher positions used to shit on people in lower class positions for doing the behavior that, ironically, they themselves did all the time.
Gossiping.
They were totally allowed to talk about themselves, but anybody else, you were a piece of crap. And it's
I'm just like, why is there no castle gossip at all in this entire game? Like, none. Zero.
Imagine how much crap we could actually be done with if we didn't, deal with that
but
sort of...
But then it wouldn't drag the story out longer without writing more plot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we talking about this being bad writers?
If Julian went from the dungeon directly to Lucio's room, maybe there's a passage in there. The wing is deserted now. We can search all we want. So this is upstairs, and it's re-vandalized? Are we back in time?
What was that? No, must have been my imagination. It's nothing. It has to be nothing. Right, nerd?
We should check Lucio's room. It's nothing. I am not going to lie, but those are the only options? I heard it too. What are you talking about? I don't know. Like, what did he say to what was that? Because I didn't hear a sound effect sound.
I mean, I did.
You did?
Yes.
What was it?
It was a noise.
Okay.
That was that wind weird
My
sound.
brain just integrated that into musical sound effects.
That's totally fine, and that's perfectly reasonable. But for me, though, I'd also say, again, none of these conversations feel very normal. In regards to some situations, so I've observed this very much with my friend Liz, and it's actually been a really cool learning experience, because you never realize sometimes how deeply inundated you are into the language of assumption within your own culture. And my friend Liz here has a really great habit of actually asking what people go, well, that's obvious. They were talking about this thing. And I myself have gotten grumpy at them for it before, but it's also been a great learning tool. And I hate it, but it's been also terrible sometimes, because I feel like I've snapped at them. Right. And it's been terrible, but other times it's been so good, because you're really going, wait a minute, what the crap are we actually talking about? And sometimes, though, asking those questions, Like, in this case, you could really have somebody, like, you guys don't know each other very well. Like, you could, like, even as far as we've gone with Julian, honestly, I'd say I still don't know anything really much about him. I don't know how old he is. We don't know how tall he is. We're not having any point of reference. Like, even if he's just talking about himself.
We don't know his
we're not trying to
background.
define our character.
We don't know if he and Portia have any other siblings. We don't know how they got separated.
We don't know anything about their family.
We don't know if they have had any other jobs or how they got into basically the things they did.
Right.
We know nothing, but we don't know anything about him in reference to like the rest of his life at all. You didn't exist until you were poof, a plague doctor here working with Lucio. That's it.
Right?
You nothing.
And you worked with Astro.
Yes.
Too. Like, okay, so what we've got so far in the plot is Julian, but I'm just like, these things though are really interesting. Like going like, if you're going to say that they matter.
In reference to myself, I often miss what is the obvious context as I move throughout social groups because I am not familiar with a lot of different things.
And you've even been in management.
I am heavily antisocial in my normal life, and I read books all the time. That is where I get a lot of my information. So people frequently, the first thing they say about me when they've known me for a little bit is, "You have so much book smarts, but you don't seem to understand the world at all." And the thing is
but the thing is nobody understands the world.
Yeah, nobody understands the world. I'm just like, I really will pick out the questions. So there's a podcast that I really love called Freakonomics, and it has two statisticians that get hired for just being basically the layman in all kinds of situations. And I'm essentially the layman in all kinds of situations. I will ask the obvious dumb question, and people go, "Well, you're just challenging me to see if I notice that." It's like, no, I'm going, is this the thing?
Right.
There's actually a great story of Richard Feynman, who was a particle physicist and a mathematician. Anyway, he worked with the government, actually designing the first nuclear bomb, and he was the father of like nanotechnology.
Right.
Anyway, but he talks about asking obvious questions. One time he was looking at a schematic and he was supposed to understand what it was, and he had no idea what it was. And they're just talking about this giant schematic and how important it is and how great it is and how fail-safe their backup systems are and how it can never overheat like this power plant, right? And he's trying to figure out, and they're like, it has enough valves and backup valves, and he's like, I don't know what this thing means, but he isn't saying it because everyone's like, you're a brilliant mathematician. Of course, you know exactly what this blueprint is. So he's trying to figure out whether something's a valve or not, like what the symbols on the map represent.
Right.
And so he points in when they go, it's completely fail-safe, and he picks out one and he goes, what about this valve? And he doesn't even know if the thing's necessarily a valve. And they all get quiet and stare at it and they go, yes, you're right. Oh my gosh, we need to really look at that. Yes. And they walk away and they change a bunch of things. And someone else in the room is going, oh my God, you're so brilliant. The only person left. How did you do that? He's like, I wanted to find out if that was a valve. That's it.
Well, and that's the other thing, though, actually, so if in regards to like, I know, but really quickly, so in regards, though, to, like, studying sociology, and one of the things you have to realize in that term is just going, like, it is actually really important to realize that most people are actually acting in reference to going what they assume is the important thing, what they assume you're looking for in regards to them. Like, this sort of psychological manipulation happens all the time. We trip ourselves out on expectation of other people and what we think the situation demands all the time. We screw each other over all the time with assumptions.
Now we should check Lucio's room.
Yes, let's check his room.
All right.
Showing if I Portia, look, someone else, maybe leave and never come back here.
Never come back. Julian, we might find something we missed last time, especially when you weren't here with me the first time, and I kind of felt up the portrait.
Yeah, no kidding.
What if the passage to the dungeon is in here? Because, maybe Muriel just poofed you from the dungeon to here.
But I'm also like, that seems dumb as crap. So number one, so the entrance to the dungeon is there. Muriel would have to walk by Lucio into Lucio's room, which is where he ran up to go find him. I'm like, the thing is, there's another
access somewhere. It's a secret hidden dungeon that I can only get to from a portal in my own room, which means I did wait on Julian. Yes!
All right! So
Lucio served Julian in the dungeon.
Would you like some eggs?
I brought you water.
I brought you toast.
Drugs.
Hi.
What?
Hi.
Drugs. Right.
Well, yes, but, what? You're right, nerd. I can't put this off any longer.
You're very good at avoiding your problems. You'll be okay. Impulsively, I take his hand, lacing our fingers together. He looks like he needs it.
Yeah.
Julian, it is your life on the line. It is okay to be uncomfortable.
It's all right. We can do this, but you're also not alone.
Yes.
Ah!
Our footsteps echo in the empty wing. I can feel eyes on us, but when I look around, there's no one there. And the paintings have their eyes cut out, so there's no eyes there either. Why didn't we just mention that? When I look around, the eyes are not there.
Right?
The cavity isn't
Not
there.
that. The cavity. It's not there.
The door to the Count's room is ajar. Beyond the threshold, there is only inky darkness.
Bloop.
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 I get out my pen to absorb it.
If
This were a Xanth game, you really would just be like sucking it up into a pen.
I know! Actually, that
so
would
good.
literally be in the Piers Anthony books. I think that actually has happened.
I think it has, actually. I haven't
Like-
read the Xanth books for years, but
God.
like, those kinds of things
I read
were in
those
there.
when I was like 12 to 14, so damn, it's been a
Julian's
while.
grip on my hand tightens as the door
He's
shuts
like,
behind us. It's okay. Here, let me hold your other hand, too. We'll just walk up like a pretzel. It's fine.
It's alright, my friend.
You will be okay.
I
You're okay.
support you.
Taking a calming breath, I focus, summoning an orb of light so I can see the lanterns.
I'm also
when
like-
did we learn to summon an orb of light?
I don't know. So was that light then really us? Earlier from
In
Uriel in the
swamp?
woods?
In the woods? Did we make that orb of light? When?
I don't know. I'm just extrapolating here. The fact that this is abruptly popped up to me.
I don't do magic. I haven't done hardly any magic. I will try this magic for the first time. Now I just casually do magic. The progression is jarring to me.
Like, I don't follow well
It's
at
harder
all.
than usual. The darkness feels stifling.
Well, it's obviously
It's
an
harder
ensorcel.
than usual.
No, that's just my knife.
Julian, do you have a fear boner? Are you okay?
No, it's just my knife. Knife. Ah!
I light the lanterns from afar. Their flames flicker to life, one at a time, casting a hazy red glow over the room. I thought red would be appropriate because the plague and all, and the blood themes. And you know what? I didn't think insensitively that it might be uncomfortable for you. Atmospheric. I'm really feeling it right now. Big mood.
I love atmosphere.
I look. It looks.
I look like me.
Yeah, poop. Oops. Oops.
Lucio somewhere in a corner. Is that my wife? Is that my wife?
Skeleton of Lucio. God damn it! It looks like Nadia and the servants have finished repairing the room. So they really didn't touch the hallway at all. Why repair the room? Well, you see what we're going to do is we're going to walk people during the ball up the stairs into the haunted hallway and go, see how it's haunted? But, Pep, the event is over. Look, his room is beautiful.
Honestly, the thing that sort of kills me about it, though, too, is just being like, you imagine it'd be a test to see who is that ballsy to walk down that hall, and they look up and go, oh, God. My God.
It's fine. We're not being morbid about his murder or anything. Go, parade yourself into his newly refurbished room. It's fine.
It's fine.
All right, finish repairing the room. And they got all the ash out, too. It's great.
No kidding.
I still have dust of him in my soul. Like my soul. As the lights return, so does Julian's curiosity. He is afraid of the dark. Aw. He lets go of my hand. Not like, aw, like you should be afraid of the dark, but that's actually a piece of character. I'm interested. All right, sorry.
You just spit on
I
me.
did. He
I'm
lets go
so
of my
proud.
hand and starts walking around the room. Yep, totally your knife.
You know. Well, maybe it's also the fact that it's like, okay, so I can be more confident it's okay, but also, I mean, like, lights really are comforting. I know
really
people
are.
love to make fun of going, why are you afraid of the dark? It's like, people have been afraid of the dark for a long time, historically speaking, and just on an evolutionary level, for a really good reason.
Yeah, so
we're
historically-
bad at seeing in the dark.
We're terrible at seeing in the dark, and historically there are things in the dark that want to screw you up. Additionally, there are people out to get him. Reasonable.
And also the fact, too, that honestly, it doesn't even have to be a thing out to get him. You could literally trip over something and get yourself killed.
Also, question. So did Nadia and Lucio have separate rooms?
That's actually a thing that I was
Because
kind
this is Lucio's room.
Right.
Like, did they meet in the middle when they were going to have an interlude? Did they join each other in each other's rooms sometimes?
I mean,
did they just have
so-
a formal marriage of like an arrangement kind of thing?
So
and then go.
depending on your culture, based off of at least the studies that I've ever done, typically what you did is you had separate rooms. That actually
Okay.
wasn't uncommon. And the man usually would go then to the woman's room. So because for the act
For the act.
for the act of laying down, for the act of flailing
For
around.
the joining of selves.
For the glitching into each other
Yes!
experience.
All right.
So, it could be that, but it also could be the fact that they actually hated each other. We don't know. Considering the fact that this game seems to be wildly also pushing more towards the romanticization
Or
of
they could
romance,
just
I would
be-
guess, I'm going to throw out a guess here, honestly, that only really happened because the way the devs have subconsciously put this in is more, unfortunately, on the lines of, this is more about that they didn't like each other, not the fact that
Now
it's
you're getting
culturally.
meta. super meta. What if they were just, distant and they used to be super into each other and they slowly drifted apart?
And it's represented in the rooms being sparse.
Who
Where they
knows?
parsed
Yeah,
out in
anyway.
different corners. I know. So, thanks to you, I've started to remember things.
Maybe?
Why
Thanks to
no?
me?
I don't know if that's actually us. I think that's just the fact that we've dragged you out of your corner more, and that's you remembering on your own, or at least your brain not being damaged enough. Like, we don't know what this type of amnesia is.
I don't
honestly.
know why you weren't remembering things. So anyways.
Well, I still don't have all my memories yet.
Wait, how do you know whether you have your memories or not?
Oh my god, that sounds so weird.
Because for me, I can't tell. He reaches out, running his fingertips along one of the bookshelves lining the wall. There are bookshelves now? Okay.
That's fine. Maybe
I don't know what's in
behind
this
the curtain
room
that I can't see.
I don't know what's in this room other than a bed, a portrait, and, lighting.
Right? I spent so long wondering about what happened in here.
Well, you see, this is where the magic happens. Oh, wait, sorry, it's Lucio's room. That's Nadia's room. Never mind.
I thought maybe if I came here, face the past, I'd find some kind of absolution. Because I believe in Catholic guilt.
Yes.
Like, I am clearly written by somebody who believes in this stuff. It's fine. But now that I know I arrived after the fire started, I can see it as it really is.
I say, additionally, they might just like the word absolution.
Oh, yeah,
it sounds very final.
Absolution is a really great word. However, you've also got to think about it in its context.
Wait, it shouldn't be empty or dusty. They just redid the whole thing.
How is that possible? Well, I mean, he could be, symbolically just being it's just a room.
Or he could just be that's how I now can see it.
Right.
As the thing that it was.
Again, I've distanced myself from what it was, going, I'm putting this thing actually into perspective. That thing about going, here's the realization of, this is reality.
Yes.
It's just a damn room, chill out.
Yep,
go ahead. It's just an empty, dusty old room.
Julian falls silent, staring up at the towering portrait on the wall.
And then he paps the groin, too.
Yes, whoops! The last time we were here, Portia was cleaning this portrait when that strange white shape knocked over her ladder. And she thoughtfully just wiped my handprint off the portrait. It's fine. I don't know who papped this, but there it is.
I'm also I wonder why specifically a horse? Why, number one, why would you, put your foot on a skull of all damn things?
I mean, at this point, based on the incredibly teeny tiny, almost nothing we know about him, I would tend to say he's very extra. But that is as deep as it goes, because all of these characters, I don't seem to be accessing where they are deep.
Right?
They clearly suggest depth, but it's not given to us.
It's not, we do not partake in this particular sacrament.
Right. What am I? Well, let me suggest to you, with various drops of information and behavior, that I am a whole, complex, deeply rendered, thoughtful person with an entire life to me and belief systems that are displayed frequently. But what do you get? Drops. Like an eyedropper. Plip! You are an ocean, and I have a teacup. Thank you. I didn't have time to absorb all the details then, but now I study it carefully. I still love the prosthetic arm. That's wild.
Assuming, it seems like it's a prosthetic arm. The fact that it has glowy bits, that
no,
really...
but, didn't we establish that before based on, we talked about, because it is this magical arm thing, and there was this other...
Oh, there was something else
that indicated it. I can't remember either, but we figured it out.
Right.
Anyway, the crimson coat, the intricate golden arm...
Yeah,
we said it. We actually said it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was what it was. The sumptuous fur, the victorious pose... I defeated this horse ages ago. I'm magnificent.
I also think it's very interesting. So, in terms of the style, so this is going to be me being vaguely sort of interested in art, because wouldn't call myself necessarily an art nerd.
Art critic, no.
But basically going so what we're saying with these paintings. So for me, I don't want to judge the artists on this, but I'm really surprised they actually didn't go out of their way to try to find other artists to do these portraits. Because usually most kingdoms or most cultures tended to have basically an ideal of art, of what they thought real art should look like. It was a choice, for example, for the, the paintings in Japan to look the way that they did. You would have individual artists sort of riffing on a certain theme, but they really would go, this is the high art.
Right.
Why is this the high art when it looks so damn realistic? That's actually really weird. Even old Victorian art, they actually really heavily tended to edit it, and people have pointed that out of being this was not accurate portraiture at all. This is not realistic. The whole
Renaissance stuff that we go crazy over wasn't actually realistic portraiture. Now, anatomists can break that down now. And I don't know if I completely agree with Scandal, but I can see their point.
Right.
Now, vanity, pride, power. Looking at it, I think I can imagine what kind of man the Count was in life.
Except for the fact that this is just a pose, and portraits usually stood for hours, and people did want themselves to look strong and imposing.
Well, like the Queen Elizabeth portraits, which didn't look anything like her, and were representative of one tiny thing. However, we could just be going, based on this picture, I feel like I can understand who he is, and we could be completely wrong, but we can still have that feeling.
Right, no, and that's fair. I'm just saying, like, culturally for me, that's really interesting.
But something about it strikes me as strange.
Mm.
Its his eyebrows, they are super extra.
I mean, he's
Also,
trying to pull the Tres Kashranada, and apparently, like, one prong went one way and the other one went... I know, I love extra eyebrows.
I was just say, he is also the only one that takes as much care with his makeup. Like, he is like, I will make up more than everyone else. Like, wow.
Again, eyebrows on fleek. Why did you run past my sentence? You did it again?
I thought it was already there. Because you keep talking and I missed it. I apologize. Anyway.
Hey there, don't you think a little bit is strange about this portrait? All the other portrait has its eyes gouged out.
Thank you. It doesn't. Yes.
Why is this one different?
It only has one eye, so he can't gouge out the eyes if there's only one.
You know what? That might be pretty reasonable, actually, going like, I have a theme that I'm following, thank you.
I gouged out everyone's eyes, but this one.
What was that?
I don't know. A shiver goes down my spine. I realize that I've just assumed that Lucio's the one haunting this room. I don't know that that's actually true, but I have been working from that assumption because I don't know who the hell else would be haunting this room. Usually when someone dies there, that's who's haunting it.
Yeah.
And I have been working from that assumption, even vocally.
And I suppose that would be kind of ridiculous in terms of the story, but I'm like,
let's introduce something brand new.
So, culturally, for me, I'd be like, why wouldn't we be talking about, like, ghost stories? Going like, okay, so what do you think is actually here? People talking about, like, in the servants going, we have a belief system that ghosts return to haunt specific areas of trauma.
Do we have any beliefs about death? Do we have any death rituals? Do we have any beliefs about the afterlife? Do we have any beliefs about spirits and spirituality? Like,
there's a lot of world here.
We also have a lot of different cultures here because these guys have come from different places. Going... So do you all have, like, why is no one talking about death, spirits, or ghosts?
Well, and part of me is also wondering whether or not Nadia's even interacted with it. Maybe her culture of going, like, he was burned, therefore he shouldn't be haunting this area, so she seems, because to me she seems unconcerned. So culturally for her, maybe she doesn't care because the thing of going, you are burned when you die, you are cremated, and therefore you are allowed to go on, so she wouldn't assume that the cat, like I don't even know.
Going on.
Like anything's really going on.
On the other hand, it would be like, the reason for the investigation, and I'm not at peace without having this thing done, isn't for him, it's just for her and the kingdom.
Right.
A shiver goes down my spine. The knocks came from inside the room, but I didn't see anything that could have caused them. There's not a wardrobe that someone's hiding inside of.
It's a boggart! You know what, nerd? I bet it's just Portia trying to prank us.
Julian, how would she know we're here? Never mind, it's fine.
Hey, she used to do this all the time when we were kids.
That's charming.
She'd knock on walls and walk around in a sheet, then tell everyone it was a ghost.
So do we get to hear mythology about ghosts now?
This would be great. Always the night after, but I knew it was her.
3 of the lantern's flames sputter out, casting Lucio's portrait in shadow.
You can't scare me, Portia! Portia, excuse me!
Yeah. His eye darts frantically around the room.
Wait, she's just outside, laughing at us. Come on, let's get out of here. Oh, you poor thing. Honestly, though, ghosts for some cultures are really terrifying. Like, damn.
He approaches the door, reaching for the handle with friendly fingers, and I'm like, I don't want to make you more scared, but obviously your supposition that it's her is ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Outside, someone slams a fist into the door with a thunderous impact.
Now, I heard that one.
Yep. Julian backpedals so quickly, he almost falls. Into the bed, like I did, last time.
Yes!
But with less dust.
We know you're in there. We can hear you. Oh, no.
Heart hammering in my chest, I shove him down behind a chair out of sight. Shh. I would shove him, I don't know, behind a cherry.
It's terribly rude to make us wait so long when we've been so patient.
I don't know, like...
Stop ignoring us and open the door, Lucio.
Are we in the past?
What?
It's really hard to voice act this when you don't have any, like, direction of who are the mystery voices.
I bet you it's the courtiers. I'm guessing, hands down, it's the courtiers.
The door bursts open.
Or it's the sisters. Actually, it occurred to me.
Could be... I don't know.
That seems really weird.
What if it's the other plague doctors that we've never seen yet?
Yay!
The door bursts open and I hastily step into the doorway, blocking the entrance.
Yes!
It is! Goodness!
I was like,
done! That was such an amazing guess.
You are not who I expected. Who are you?
But we met you, and now your memory is gone?
Out of the way, Volta!
I remember them. They were there when Nadia introduced me to the court.
Procurator.
Procurator, I can do this. Procurator Volta and Pontifex Volgora. Why were they shouting for Lucio?
You, magician! Why are you here?
Because I'm investigating the murder I was hired for. Sorry.
This individual reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys have ever played Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, but where there's this stupid little ridiculous character who runs around. Oh my gosh, he's the main like right-hand man to the bad guy, and it's hilarious.
I love how this person is basically a fusion of like a traditional like knight and you're like lady courtier at once, like with the big poofy sleeves of like the man at court, but with like, you know, the hair thing, and also with the like all of it. It's just like we took them and just squished them together. Why are you here? I'm investigating. I would tend to say I'm investigating because that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And why would I be defensive unless I was, well, panicking?
Uh-huh.
All right, so it's not defensive to say I'm investigating.
But also,
I literally
like,
just investigating.
in that sense of going, are we basically trying to be sneaky? Well, why are you here?
That's true. We could be like, well, I know I'm supposed to be here. Why are you here?
Right?
I don't know which one is which. Why are you here? I'm investigating. It could be defensive if I explain myself, and it could suggest like a level of, well, you're in charge.
Right.
But if I say, why are you here? It could be like, excuse me? You shouldn't be questioning me. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know the tone of this game well enough.
I don't either. I'm also like, the thing of the idea of us actually playing a character has been very frustrating, going like, I cannot tell, because the choices that I would like to make, I can't make it in any informed way, because there is a level of implied background that I, as a player, don't have, so I can't even play correctly.
Because even at this point, we really don't have a feel for what these choices mean emotionally. I think we're getting better at it, as far as like just learning the writers. I think it's great also that we made so little impact that one of them didn't even remember us. That's lovely.
Oh,
what were you? Utterly forgettable. How are you?
Ah, excellent. Honestly,
who am I? My name's Nerd, and I'm completely
I was
forgettable
kind of
doormat.
thinking of going with the I'm investigating, but I think I actually would go with why are you here?
Let's try it. It sounds accusatory, too, though, with the capital U. Who knows? Why are you here?
We were just coming to pay a visit to... no one! We weren't coming to visit anyone. In fact, we came because we heard intruders. Right, Volta?
How did you hear us from all the way down the stairs out in the rest of the castle where no one ever comes?
So basically, unfortunately, because this is
you're
ridiculous,
lying.
and it's fine. He's still alive. This is obvious.
We know that this individual is lying.
Oh, yes, Volgora.
Excuse me, this voice is wrecking me.
It's fine, you got this.
Instead, it seems we found the Countess's pet magician.
Well, if I'm their pet magician, do they also have, like, you know, a peer magician, a friend magician, like, an
escort magician?
An escort magician.
A companion magician.
A superior magician.
Oh!
Right.
A high magician.
A high magician.
The thing is, okay, so, you know what I want to see? For some reason, my brain is just like, I would love to see all, like, mostly, like, I think Volgora and Volta, though, in the labyrinth.
They
would look so good. Like
they would be great.
I'm like suddenly I could just like see the texture of
Jim
that.
Henson, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Now run along. We have business here.
Actually, you don't have any power over me.
The answer is no.
Because I've been hired by your superior. Volgora grabs my shoulder, the tips of their gauntleted fingers digging in painfully. Thanks. I plant my heels, determined not to move.
Yeah, we're a badass. Screw you.
I can't let them see Julian no matter what.
Oh.
Volta starts sniffing the air, turning her head this way and that.
You smell that, Volgora?
It's okay, we know. Ice-cold adrenaline floods my veins. She can't possibly smell him. Can she?
Food! Oh, it must be lunchtime with the Countess!
You poor hungry babu. You're just like, I know I'm supposed to be evil and suspicious, but what I really just want is to eat. It sounds good.
I'm also like, so are we
food.
really though, like... So it might not be a nun thing. What if it's like a head of staff thing? Like food or like a chef?
Oh, maybe.
I'm like, wait a minute, are we really doing like I've been
know.
wondering about some of the imagery. Like, I think I mentioned when they showed up, like, but to me I was like, they seem sort of like the 7 deadly sins.
But if she's also
But there isn't
part,
7
or
of them.
If this individual is also part of the court, like they're a courtier, then they're not part of the staff.
That's true.
So their uniform wouldn't be a staff uniform.
No, but I'm like this implication of, I don't even know.
Also, are they all related somehow or come from the same court because they all have the beetle motif?
Right? Yeah, no, I keep wondering about the beetle motif because it doesn't show up anywhere else.
What are we?
Nadia doesn't have it.
We're all siblings, it's fine.
It's fine.
Your parents were amazing.
I mean, if Nadia's parents seem to be any indicator, honestly.
Like, damn.
Like,
they're
woo.
more diverse than Nadia's siblings are.
And I will turn famished, starving, so very, very hungry.
You also suggest that your timing is terrible as you came up here to do something. Volta tugs frantically at Volgora's sleeve, staring eagerly down the hallway, practically salivating. Wouldn't it be fascinating, though, for her character, if she's actually, like, an advocate for Julian, because, 50% of everyone likes him? And so she's going, I smelled him, we need to get out of here immediately, so that he doesn't get found out.
Honestly, that would be fascinating.
I would be so amazed by that level of complexity of, literally, it is down the middle, 50% of everyone loves him.
No matter what.
And so you get 50% of, even the sort of suspicious looking ones that don't match with anyone else's aesthetic, just are like, half of us are fan people. Volgora smacks away Volta's grasping hands, snarling in frustration.
Shut up, Volta! Please, Volgora! We must go! Oh, we must find the food when it's all gone!
If it is 7 deadly sins, that they could be gluttony.
Yeah.
And then it really
'Cause
is
I'm
like,
like, the other
when
one-
there's food, I can't function, I need to do that.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Volta scuttles down the hallway,
I-
still sniffing the air, and Volgora turns a poisonous glare toward me.
Poisonous.
I was going to say pious.
Oh,
That
God!
was where I was going, like, I'm better than you.
No.
I have succeeded in being more and
Don't-
better than you.
Pious
It's fine,
doesn't
it's fine.
I get the intonation, but I'm like,
A poisonous glare toward
Towards
me.
me.
We will never hear, magician. Understand? You tell anyone about this.
I will use my excessive teeth on you.
I mean, they don't even have very sharp teeth. I'm very
No,
disappointed.
but they keep going wider.
Oh, it's true.
And they don't go back. So I don't know what's behind that smile. Like, and anatomically, that's incredibly unusual teeth.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially since they've worked, and they're also, I mean, these ones all have more defined teeth than other people anyways. I think it's meant to be intimidating.
I mean, honestly, it just makes them look interesting.
It does, but I think it's
I'll
intended.
crush your skull.
I'm sure Nadia will love that.
Sorry, I'm
I'm sure Nadia will love that. Totally put you in favor. What? Huh?
Honestly, that would probably be me. I'm writing on anxiety, right? And I'm sure Nadia would love that.
Yep. With one last sneer, Volgora turns and stalks down the hallway. Once they're definitely gone, Julian comes out of his hiding spot. I am one with the chair. We bonded.
Oh, God.
Just
He's like,
holding-
how he collapsed that far. Like, he would be great as to doing that illusionary, that trick of, like, folding yourself into a box.
Of being contortionist.
He could be.
The contortionist small spaces
He
trick.
could totally do
I
that.
folded myself into oblivion. It's fine. He comes out
So
of his
he's not only a good pole dancer, good at theatrics, but also he's a great contortionist.
Excellent.
Headcanon accepted.
You know what? He's got a lot of possibilities in front of him.
He's got a lot of physical skills.
He does. Very physical. I love this idea, though. He's crouched down behind this chair. He stands up. He comes out of his hiding place. It's a complicated gesture.
That would be great.
He turns me around to face him. Checking my shoulder with trembling fingers. Oh, he just grabbed me. All right.
You're right.
It's only a flesh wound.
Oh.
I nod. My shoulder is sore where Volgora dug her claw tips in. Volgora, it's fine.
Volgora.
It could be, who knows? Claw tips in, but I'm just unsettled, not hurt. You didn't stab me. That's nice to know. They look damn sharp.
I think I remember them. Volta and Volgora. They're courtiers at the palace, aren't they? Then Vlastomil and Valdemar.
I love that book series. Oh, I mean, yes, they were there too.
I still love that. Where are the horses?
Valdemar, the companions, they're coming, they'll help us. All right. He shudders, running his hands distractedly through his hair, accidentally undoing his eye patch. Whoop.
Valdemar. Oh, boss. We're lucky they aren't here. Oh.
Your old boss, so is he a plague doctor too?
Or
Is
they?
there... they. So I don't... Is that
We honestly
individual?
don't...
We don't know any of their genders.
We are
I
certainly
don't
making
know.
assumptions, but I think it's mostly on the way that we're choosing to act them, so I do not know.
There's a level of going, I have to pick a voice for you somewhere, so you know. They all sound like Gilbert Gottfried, every one of them. That's it.
And I will go! and
We were working on a plague for the cure on the ground. On a cure for the plague. Oh! I'm sorry, my brain, because I was reading down here going underground because I was thinking. Okay. That's what you get. Don't read ahead, folks.
We just needed a plague for the cure. Once we had it, it would be fine. We could control the world.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if this plague was completely magical and only popped up because of some really dumbass choices.
Okay, but hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you've got is you've got a mad scientist basically that invents the stuff before there's the thing for it. So you've got basically Megamind going, I've invented a cure. What's it for? I don't know. I haven't invented the disease yet.
Isn't that basically, though, like, been the plot of so many mega corporation pharmaceutical companies are bad stories?
But usually they aren't like invented a disease only I can cure, but you're like, I invented the cure first, and then I just threw it at diseases until I figured out what it worked on. I'm trying to manufacture a disease that only this cure works on.
I mean, that's basically what they probably did, so I don't know.
That's true.
We're working on a cure for the plague on the ground. It's gonna trigger my memory.
Grimacing in pain, he winces, pressing his fingers against his temple. Then suddenly, he bolts upright, his eye wide.
Collapses. I remember how to get there.
How to get to the dungeon?
It's in the library, Ned. Oh, God.
We're gonna need Portia. Julian dashes past me.
No.
Caught flat-footed, I have to scramble to keep up. You don't have a disguise, sir.
Sir,
you are undisguised. You cannot just run through the castle. What?
Hey.
Let me throw a tablecloth over your head. It's fine. As we turn the corner, we almost collide with someone going the other way. Wait, did we go downstairs again? This is a downstairs hallway.
It's Portia.
But this is the downstairs hallway.
Ian, Ned, what happened?
Do you have the wig?
Portia, just what I wanted to say. I remember how to get into the dungeon. There's a secret passageway in the library. Do you have the keys? Go, this way. Go, quickly.
He's so excited and going, I appreciate that you remember and you're really excited. You are exposed, my friend. Julian rushes off,
God.
leaving Portia and me to chase after him.
Then he gets his head cut off. It's fine.
Well, there's a lot of chapters left, so maybe that's supposed to comfort us as the reader that he's not going to die right this minute, and then we'll have to wander through going, well, if he also has a ghost, maybe that's what we're going to date.
Because, the whole point of this is just to date him. It's not to get to know him. Oh, I'm sorry.
By the time we reach the library, my legs are burning from exertion because I am not athletic.
At all,
It's
apparently.
true. I stop to catch my breath while Portia opens the complicated locks on the library door.
You've ever heard of a secret passageway in the library before?
Well, we did sneak out of there one time, so there's at least one.
There really is.
I also walked out of there at the very beginning of this story, so technically there's 2 if Astro's was temporary. And 3 if this is another one. But you said you also don't know of a bunch of the passageways, and you didn't know about the one he fell through, so while I don't want to doubt you, dearie, that's reasonable.
Valdemar insisted on secrecy. None of the palace staff knew about it.
So did he build it?
I don't know.
Did he murder everyone involved in the construction of the castle? Did he magically create it? Did he hire a magical architect to create it and then kill them?
We don't know if they're a he.
Oh, sorry. Did this individual? I apologize.
Did Valdemar?
I'm trying to. I tend to fall in he as a gender neutral, and I apologize for that. All right, secrecy. How did Valdemar insist on secrecy?
I have always hated that trope, actually,
where
for
it came
specifically
from.
that reason. Like, people have records, people keep books, people keep resources.
How old is this castle, and where did the passageway come from? That's
right.
my
That's
question.
the other problem too. Of going like,
I
this is
insist
an
on
old
secrecy.
castle.
Was it built originally with the castle, or was it an alteration? Who altered it, and how much time and energy did it take, and how many people were involved in that process?
You can't just have secret passages blankly in everything. It actually takes a lot of time if you're going to introduce something, even into castles, because a lot of them were very. Sometimes they can be very susceptible to falling the hell apart.
There's very specific structure you have to regard.
Even in remodeling a house, like, damn.
I'll just knock this out. That's a load-bearing wall. What? You can't remove that one.
What? Oh, I already knocked it out. What happened to my roof? Well, shit.
Your roof is going to slowly fall down over the next 5 years. It's fine. Julian hurries to a bookcase, running his fingers along the book spines and muttering to himself.
I was about to say,
I have decided that every library I ever enter now, I'm just going to start pulling every book gently from the shelf. And then that was how you find
and the librarian's going to come around going, what are you doing?
What are you doing? It's okay.
Can I help you find something, please?
You know what? Show me where the secret passage is, and then I will stop pulling books off the shelf.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't know where it is. Could you help me just tip these books gently to find out which ones won't come out? It's fine. Julian hurries to a bookcase. Oh, sorry, there we go, muttering to himself.
Let's see, it was red, leather, and black with gold, exactly like, the little beetles, except for the black parts.
Do you know what I would love? If we actually had to go upstairs. Like, there's clearly a balcony and multiple layers in this library.
I know!
It'd be great if anything happened upstairs.
That would be fabulous.
I would love that.
It would be beautiful.
Also, I want to know where his desk is, because you've said stacks, and going like there are more spaces, but it doesn't look like there's any turns or corners or opening. It's the Labyrinth Library. We are in the Labyrinth. There's no turns or corners or openings or anything. It's okay. Just turn right here.
I just a wham.
It's fine. It's just a wham. He pulls on 3 books, one after another. They tilt, but stop without coming fully off their shelves. And if I tried to yank it off the shelf, what would happen? Then a section of the bookcase slides open, revealing a dark, unlit passageway. You all assume that no one actually tries to read any of these books, because if I tried to pull a book out of the shelf and it's stuck, I would be like, excuse me, give me the book.
And honestly, there is actually a really delicate balance you have to sort of, like, for me, I'm going, like, especially somebody who likes to read books. I can imagine having to really try to figure out a delicate balance of going, okay, so I have to make these books look uninteresting, but not so uninteresting that they get your attention. Because really, sometimes, honestly, people just go, I'm just pulling books, like, based off the fact that they look weird,
right,
or whatever.
And I have to put them out of the way and not in a section or category that's interesting either.
Also, you're also going to assume that none of the staff is going to come in here and clean and try to treat for bugs or, moths or anything that will actually eat the books.
Except for nothing else can come in here, except for Pasha with the keys.
The giant window that potentially might need care or anything. I'm like, and they've got plants everywhere. Do you know how much dust is in this damn place? They have to have staff coming here and cleaning it.
Are you sure that it's not just, like, fake plants? A section of the bookcase lies open, dark, unlit passageway.
I can't believe it. Was I hit her the whole time?
Yeah, and I've totally ran Muriel through it. It was great. Julian's eye is alight with a thrill of discovery. Actually, he just looks smug, but that's fine. But peering down into the darkness, I only feel dread. It is a dungeon, after all.
I'm remembering it more and more. I know the answers are down there. Okay, the question is how do you know that Valdemar's not down there? Well, the torchlights aren't on. Well, that doesn't mean shit, actually. Sometimes you want to turn them, like, douse them. But
also, why hasn't she asked about his wig? Why hasn't she pointed out that he's undisguised? And going, your wig is still somewhere in the castle incriminating you. Aggressively. Like, that bothers me. Me who likes mysteries and also like espionage. I'm going, that is that is like the knife in the desk in Mission Impossible. Going, something is clearly off. We are suddenly on high alert.
Pretty much.
If you haven't seen that movie, you won't get the reference, but maybe you'll extrapolate. Glark it from context.
Glark from context, for sure.
Then, let's go. Squaring my shoulders, I call up an orb of light. It casts flickering shadows over the tunnel walls.
Why wouldn't you just light the... I'm fine.
We don't have flint and tinder.
No, but we've lit all the other lamps.
I know. Because in this case, maybe there's not lamps down the hallway. Maybe it's so dark we haven't looked. Maybe we just assume we don't want to light them in case someone else opens this unopened unknown thing. Who knows?
All right, well, I mean, you can snuff them out as you go by. I'll stand guard up here. Make sure nobody follows you.
Okay. Sure?
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I'm just still kind of frustrated going like, this is...
Like, again, the wig bothers me.
Like, why she's not pointing it out? I'm like, there's so many... I'm like, too many things have popped up!
Like, I would totally be like, we need to cover his damn head. Like, for wow.
Can I borrow your little hair wrap thingy, please?
Pretty much.
Be careful, you two. Please. Promise, Pasha. We'll be back before you know it.
Together, we descend into the tunnel. The tunnel is dark and damp. Unfinished dirt walls press in around us, and tangled roots dangle from the ceiling. So we went way down.
I'm going down.
I'm yelling timber. I'm yelling anxious. Oh,
I'm yelling.
Do we light the torches, or is that just atmospheric?
I don't know.
But as soon as we step foot on the dirt, Julian goes rigid, then dashes into the darkness.
Yep, still dark.
I stumble on the uneven floor more than once, but Julian is sure-footed. He seems to know the way by heart. Well, it's still dark, so like nobody's probably down here unless they're just sitting in the dark being a troll.
Honestly, though,
I was waiting. I've been trying to do this jump scare for 1,000 years. I sit here in every spare moment in the dark just in case.
Honestly, I could totally see Valdemar doing that, because that's the one with the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I could see that bullshit happening. It sounds like them.
Though it must only be minutes before we emerge into a larger cavern.
There should be torches somewhere here.
Okay, so we do light torches.
Except that's the staircase.
We were going down a hallway. Were we going down a staircase? I'm not sure. Was the hallway like angled downward? We're traveling something and then emerge into a cavern.
I don't know.
We've walked back to the mountains again. We're not even anywhere near under the castle and in a natural cavern. It's fine.
It's fine.
Man, he was super extra when he built a dungeon, or when someone built a dungeon.
Right?
His family years ago, Lucio's, they just dungeon. They're like, you know what this castle needs? I'm decided to settle my kingdom here based on the fact that that giant natural cave over there, dungeon, I feel it.
So here's a morbid thought. How the hell do you get locked in here? Is there like going to be a cage we're going to come across? Like
or
there's a way
there's actual cells down here?
Right?
Who knows?
Like, I'm like, it sounds sort of weird, and I'm like, that seems a little extra for a place that's like a dungeon, but a dungeon doesn't have to be for anything.
There's also got to be a whole laboratory down here. If he was working on a cure. I concentrate, making the orb of light larger and brighter until I can see where I need to aim. Okay. The torches are old, but there's still a little fuel left. I concentrate and light them with a flick of my fingers. Sounds like people haven't been here in a while. They form 2 rows, lighting a path to a mechanical contraption in the center of the cavern. Oh, that sounds wild.
Aww.
Julian hesitates to approach it, his shoulders going tense with discomfort.
Cage!
I am looking for a cage, like...
That's what that sounds like, hang on.
I interlace our fingers and he gives me a strained smile. He grips my hand tightly as we approach it, but it's a contraption, not a container. It's not until we're right in front of it that I realize its purpose. That looks like a door.
It does.
It looks like a door. It's a massive, magically powered machine designed to raise and lower a cage, barely big enough for one person.
Ooh.
I don't know where the cage is, but this looks like a door.
That looks completely like a door. I mean, the implication of the words is kind of horrifying, so I was right.
It is, but also, how do you work if you're basically in a cage that just lets you stand?
Well, and also that suspends you, too.
Raise and lower
cage.
I mean, the cage doesn't have to suspend you. It doesn't have to be lifts you off the ground. It can be, I come from the roof and seal to the floor.
Oh, that's true.
There's a couple of different varieties you could think of, which is, stand here and we drop the cage onto you. Or we put you in the cage and can raise you. So yeah, I was picturing the type that seals into the floor.
Okay, you see, I was picturing one that you would raise and drop, but that's because I've played Final Fantasy 12, and there's a lot of like weird lifted
skeletons hanging in the air. It's the whole pirates thing. It's just the skeleton in the cage hung in the air.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of that.
Yeah, I was not picturing that at all.
Yeah, that's okay.
Actually, though, how is he working under that condition? Where's his tools?
I'm also like that again. That thing of going so like I get it. It was a very common method, and people basically were using it to mostly self-gratify. But really, torture doesn't help people.
Oh, hang on. The cage is surrounded by a metal enclosure with some kind of locking mechanism. We don't notice the metal enclosure first. We see the little tiny cage inside of it.
You're kidding.
I am confusion. It's fine. The cage is surrounded by a metal enclosure with some kind of locking mechanism. The crude gears and pulleys are caked in rust and grime. It looks like nobody's been down here in some time, or at least no one's used it. Have you looked at the floor footprints?
I know this. That's an old nightmare.
Dread skitters long fingers down my spine. The longer we stand here, the more certain I am. Somewhere below this cavern, there's something deep and dark and terrible.
And it's called a Balrog! No,
yes! It's okay. The dwarves. Damn them.
Mm-hmm.
Julian seems to feel it too. Or perhaps he's remembering it. But he's not magical as far as we know. So are we feeling something deep and dark and terrible? Or are we just like having like gut instinct of something deep and dark and terrible?
Or the implication of your mind tripping you out, which happens a lot.
Why does it feel below this cavern? We're already way the hell down.
I know, but how down I don't know.
His eye darts around the cavern, chasing every flickering shadow. With a deep breath, he fishes in his coat and pulls out the key he took from his desk. Why did your desk have the key to your cell?
That seems actually really weird.
That seems wild. That feels like a plant, because why would you have the key to your own prison? I don't know.
That doesn't feel accurate.
It just feels weird. Again, I want the writers to have something awesome up their sleeve. I'm for it. But the red stone set in it glimmers sullenly in the torchlight.
Here it is.
The enclosure's locking mechanism has a rusty plaque with a keyhole bolted to it.
Yep, it's right there.
So this is the enclosure, which looks like a gate, and then inside it is a little tiny cage somewhere.
Yep.
And then there's a big machine over here somewhere?
I
Like
don't
on
know.
this
Now,
side of it?
again, this is where I'm like, I want to see these visuals, because I'm like, it would be neat, but I'm like,
It would help, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like, to some degree, these types of games count too much on the visuals, and sometimes it feels like the writers and the painters did things separately.
Right.
Like, there have been some games that we've encountered that just straight out, what they describe on the screen is not what's in the text at all.
Yep.
Or vice versa.
Right.
Like, big time. So, in this case, the first thing you notice in the room is a tiny cage behind a giant thing and a machine over here, not a huge-ass door. Julian bends close and reads it aloud. He reads the plaque.
Bloody hands may turn the key, know the weight of your sins, and enter.
Well, that's not ominous.
Well, that's pretty extra, isn't it? I mean, unpleasant, isn't it?
Yeah? Let me try. Try what? Reading it?
Aye. To unlock it? You're kidding.
Wait, has he tried it already? He just read it. Did he try it?
No, he didn't try it. He just read it.
So
he
then
said
why,
he just...
but why are we trying it?
I don't know.
Okay.
That literally makes no
I
sense to
insert
me.
the
I'm like,
key, but it catches and won't turn. No matter how hard I try it, I can't force it.
it's because we're trying to make a thematic point that he's got blood-stained hands.
He's got blood on his hands. We know that, though. He's told us all about all the people
Like, why
that he
is
believes
this
he's
a
killed.
surprise? We've already had this discussion. Now, I think it has to be me.
All right, at this point, Lucio was obsessed with you, built this dungeon for you, made a plaque to shame you, and then locked you in it.
I'm like, I was gonna be like, I think they were boning, but it might have not been consensual, but it was there.
But there's a level of obsession. I made this for you.
And you're going to do what I want you to do. But also, I'm like,
if he owned Muriel, he's just like, I own everything. That's
I can
mine.
do whatever
Like
I
if
want.
we could extrapolate that. Nadia going, no, I won't sleep in your room because you don't own me.
You don't own me.
I'm not just one of your many
Many
toys. But apparently, poor Julian. Of
But I'm like,
course.
we've already established this. Again, I'm going like, the level, okay, granted, we haven't technically, I guess, established this. There's the weird assumption with him being way too damn hard on himself, but it's also like, considering the time that it seems to be trying to imply, we as a magician, I would imagine, unfortunately, I'm having to extrapolate based on that, is going like, you would know that a lot of people going to go see a doctor wouldn't always help them. The doctor would be dealing with a lot of dying people, especially in reference to him going, I dealt with people who had the plague. You knew the plague killed a lot of people. This is ridiculous drama that we already know about, and why our character would go, let me try it. It seems silly.
Wild? I mean, did we think he was hesitating? Did we think he was uncomfortable? I don't know. But additionally, I'm just like, he's told us that he feels responsible for all the deaths of the plague. He's also told us that every other vampire eel that bit anyone where he was around, they died. He feels responsible for the loss of all of his patients. So whether we're trying to imply that he's a murderer here, he already thinks he's essentially medically failing people and is thereby a murderer bipartisan or a
By just
perpetrator in manslaughter, essentially.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know.
He stares at the cage, his expression stricken. Where are your tools? How are you working on a cure? He looks so afraid of himself more than anything else. I ache to see him look so despondent. You look like a sad boy.
He is a sad boy. That's the thing, I'm like,
It's true.
he's a sad, destructive man.
Yes.
He's been throwing himself basically into a pit trying to either kill himself, but why he then ran away for 8 years and then came back.
Again, though, we don't know that he ran away for 8 years. We just know that Pasha hadn't seen him in
That's
8 years.
true.
Again, we don't know that she worked at the castle that whole time or with him. We don't know when she started her job at the castle. We don't know that
That's
like
true.
that she saw him there, then he left for that long. We don't know how long Lucio died ago. Like,
No.
we don't know how long the Colosseum's been shut down for.
We
We've
do.
got nothing.
They said it hadn't been working for like 8 years or whatever since he died. It's been like
Did
8
he
to 7
say
years.
8 years,
Not
or did he
them.
say
Nadia said that. I think in the epilogue or whatever the hell it was.
We're gonna have to go check that out. I don't remember.
It's
Like, I feel like the only time frame we ever got was how long it had been since Portia saw him. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I wrap my arms around him, holding him tight.
I could be wrong. Not.
He curls his arms around my waist and presses his cheek against my hair, breathing me in.
Man, you are terrifying.
He just
He turned.
leans down a lot and paps his head onto my hair. No. After a moment, he speaks.
I've been asking myself a question over and over since last night. Even if I didn't kill the Count, what am I guilty of?
I mean, you've already said what you believe you're guilty of with all the deaths of every one of your patients
And
ever.
honestly, in that way, there is nothing no one can say to you to absolve you of your guilt. If you believe that you are a terrible murderer, despite trying to help people, and them dying because you either did not have the skill, did not have the knowledge, or whatever the
or
reason
the
might have been.
technology, that's,
like,
no one can help you with that but yourself. That's your own demon.
Like, and then you've got to deal with that. Going like, if you do not find peace...
Also going, what am I guilty of? You don't have to be guilty of anything, sir.
Uh-huh. I've forgotten so much, even though my memories are coming back. I don't remember entire years, not. What did I do?
Do you remember the time you were gone? Do you remember the past 8 years since, or the amount of time since you left the castle?
Which is where I'd be like, all right, let's talk about it. Let me write it down. We'll keep track of, like, where we were, whatever else. I'll ask you questions.
Going, where were you before you came to town? Do you remember that?
This is, again, where I'm like, why do we have a freaking conversation with this guy?
We never talked to him, except for, again, that one where I sort of bitched a few episodes ago, going, the one time where we spent a day with him, apparently all we did was moon over the fact that he seemed to be getting more and more tense the entire day, which sounds like a sucky day, but that would have been a total chance to get to know him that we didn't get to do.
That's true. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I didn't feel any better in Lucio's room, but because that's not where my crimes are. Maybe they're here, at the bottom of this pit.
Before I can stop him, he pulls away from me and takes a step back into the cage.
It's an elevator.
Is it an elevator?
Ah, it could be an elevator. Because he says back into this pit. I'm like, because I cannot visualize it. There's a machine. It's a pulley system.
You open this, and then there's the caged elevator inside, and then you can do else. That could be fascinating. That could maybe do it. Cage door closed with a clang. All right, the moment he does, the cage door closes with a clang, unyielding iron bars separating us.
Time to face the music.
Be
like, you dingus, I said I would be there to help you, jackass. What is this?
He's putting on a brave front, but his hands are shaking. I just have to assume at this point that he is remembering something. He feels like this is the right action to take, but I got nothing.
He's also prone to doing things in haste
by
all
himself,
the time, constantly.
hasty and alone. Kiss him through the metal.
Or reassure him.
How are we going to get our face through that to kiss him? Is he just going to smoosh his face up against the bars and we'll smoosh ours against the bars? Like,
that's sounds, 2 layers.
Not if he's not inside the cage.
No, he wasn't.
Inside the grate.
I mean, that's true. If the inner door hasn't closed yet, most of the ones won't go yet.
Right? We don't know it's an elevator too. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
It sounds like an elevator. It sounds like
I don't know what we're seeing. Oh my God. And also, if it's an elevator, why wouldn't he take us into the elevator with him? Like, that's pretty, we're about to be separated.
Well, I know. I've noticed. This is why I'm like, you've gone on now for artificial drama, and now I'm going to, now I must separate you from myself because I am a dirty, dirty person.
Sure. We've gone for, let's try kissing him. Why not?
Because
Let's shove your face through the bars. And worry about my hands getting torn off. It's fine.
No. He actually has to bend his whole body. Squat down.
Leans forward. He is feeling better. He's not going super intense with initiating and stuff, even though he's nervous.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it though is just basically that thing of going of I had a lot of that intensity because, I'm freaking out because I don't know what the truth is. And a lot of people do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. He's having a really wildly, what I would call almost balanced response to it. I wouldn't necessarily call it healthy, but balanced of going, he's not turning out and becoming grossly aggressive or grossly destructive.
Or aggressively sexual. If I need to get away from this and get into something else.
Right.
He really is just going, I'm trying to understand.
But also in some ways that can be much worse because you become then more grossly basically internal.
Or he's just becoming sort of passive to it, resigned.
Yeah, which, as I said, becoming too internal.
I may have hit my terror barrier and just collapsed.
Yeah, that's right. Again, it's too hard. Nerd.
Ow. Ow. I love squishing against cold bars. It's fine.
Why would you have that face? I don't know,
That's the same face he had after the bar fight, which is wild.
I know, I'm still uncomfortable with that, but I'm like, that's supposed to be the weird arousal face. I apologize. I don't mean to call it weird, but to me I find it weird because contextually it doesn't really work for me very well, because I'm going it seems either I know they only have a limit of so many different faces, but it kind of bugs me because it doesn't seem to fit it.
It feels really
But again, I'm reading this probably very differently. I don't know,
connected to the bar fight. Why are we getting separated here? Oh, that's...
You are a sad person.
You're about to... So,
You don't know what's there.
I don't know what's going on, but if you are separating us, like, we agreed to stay together, so whether this might be cute or whatever, it's actually, just sort of saying, like, a big F you to our social agreement if we're going to work together on this.
I'm also like, why isn't our character protesting? If we made the thing going, we're going to stay together, being like, what are you doing? I am going to go with you. Or we said we were going to stick together.
We were going to do this together. Additionally, I am the only barrier between you and death at this point because I'm investigating this thing. So
again, that thing of going, we're not going to bring up the fact that we can investigate, or we are investigating him at all, and we should be like, I am investigating you. I'm the only thing stopping from Nadia. If I don't know, it doesn't matter what you say. Because again, that thing
because you're not considered trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly.
You are the culprit. You finding the evidence by yourself doesn't matter.
This won't save you. Also going, what happened to his damn eye patch? Because see how it's not coming actually into his face?
Yeah, it's a little high. It's fine. He's smooshing it up against that bar and sliding it up because he's sliding his face
I mean,
down.
that would be great if that was actually there.
That's kind of like the hair ruffling and scooting up kind of thing. Anyway. Yeah, but I also
except for the fact that it's not going to keep helping you if you run off without us. Because again, if we don't have the knowledge, we who have been assigned to this task by Nadia, we have that power. Nadia has put her trust in us. Yeah. You're dead.
She's put her trust in us so hard that she even has forgotten, like, she's never checked in on us. She's never scrutinized any of our choices. She's just been like, you can do this, I'll leave you to it. Like an expert, even though we're not.
I know!
I hope you want to stay alive more than you want a future with me.
Because, honestly,
one directly connects to the other. On the other hand, it's very cute.
Okay, you running off without us will not help that. I'm going to reiterate this again and again and again. It doesn't matter. If we did not physically see it, if we do not interact with him in that space, it doesn't damn well matter.
Additionally, if this is an elevator and there's barely enough room for one person, I mean, we could just squish him with him. He's basically a toothpick anyway.
I know, we'd be just under his legs.
One person, what size?
Yeah, I know. Like, what are you saying? Like, bullshit.
It's fine. So, is there operating mechanisms in there? Or
like,
whatever?
I don't... Like,
there's a lever inside the cage! He pulls a lever inside the cage, and the mechanism comes to life in a cacophony of metal. I really don't know what an elevator is, do I?
Well, the thing is you don't know what a British elevator is.
Also goes to the ceiling. This is an elevator like an edgelord in the middle of a room, in the middle of the floor, with a cage around it instead of walls or anything, that just goes through a hole in the ceiling via Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we notice the hole in the ceiling? Gears grate against each other, years of rust flaking off. Pulleys and cables rattle alarmingly.
I'm also like, what kind of technology are we talking here? This isn't just like a series of mechanical stuff, because... So, what is it, electric? Like,
I mean, it sounds magical. Specifically, it's a magical machine.
Okay, so it is run by magic. So who keeps the spell up?
Right?
How does this get maintained?
How magic
Especially since
works.
Our magic apparently drops off at the drop of a hat when it's, dramatically convenient.
We've actually never ever seen any magical artifacts or magical items as well. We don't know anything about magical machines or magical machinery. It doesn't seem to be Astra's discipline. Maybe it's a different kind of magician that builds these. I'm a magical engineer. Nice to meet you. I think you guys, you organic magicians, are shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Be like, you guys are terrible.
Here's my pseudo-steampunk Victorian magical engineer, engineering magician, who thinks you unschooled, touchy-feely magicians are shite for lacking in education. I build machines that stay there. You just use your powers to feel your way in the world until you exhaust yourself. Excuse you.
I create things that last.
That sustain themselves.
Wow, y'all are shit. I made solar power before there was solar power.
Alright, but amazingly, it still works. The enclosure door screeches as it closes, narrowly missing me. So, the enclosure opened, he went into the cage, we kissed him in the cage, and then we almost get crushed by the external door because the elevator started going up before the external door was closed, which is why you're supposed to close those first. But also the external door, it's the external surrounding of the entire thing on all sides based on the text? I don't
now
understand.
I'm confused. I'm getting some conflicts with how this is being written and then also how it's being visually presented. The visual presentation is throwing me off like crazy.
It really is. I have to shout to be heard above the din. Julian, when you get down there, is he going down or up? Send the lift back up for me. I thought he was going up.
No, he was going down.
He's going down. I don't even know.
Down into the pit. Remember, pit. This is a pit.
That's fine. I'm like, I don't know.
I know.
I can't keep track of it. Whatever's down there, we'll face it together. So it really was just that it's too small for one person, I guess.
That seemed...
Also, if you
there is also a weight limit, so sometimes you have to be really careful.
But if you can only operate it from the inside, how do you send it? If he sends it back up and you don't send it
'Cause
back
what
down,
you
is he stuck forever?
What you can do is reach for the bars, probably pap the thing, and then the door will close, so you just have to get your hand out of the way. Now, that is completely so many OSHA violations, like, wow, but, dude.
But also, like, imagine, though, you're down there, you send it back up. What if I don't send it down again? What if I don't come down? What if something happens to me? Are you stuck down there until someone uses this thing that hasn't been used for years? Like, that's
I'm also like, usually, yeah, there's another side to it where you're supposed to be able to
You can
pap it up.
page the elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it back with the machine from the top. Anyway, with shuddering groan.
With a
shuddering groan, the lift descends, taking Julian out of sight. The machinery rumbles and clanks for a minute more before coming to a screeching halt. Then, silence. All right, wow, we did that. There we go. Okay, well, that was fascinating. I feel like it would have been really helpful if the illustration matched the text in that case. That was one of the more confusing ones for me. In the meantime, if you haven't seen the rest of our series, we would love for you to see it. It would be super cool. We've been having a great time with this, and we would love some feedback. You can also find us on Tumblr, and...
Hey, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies,
And
it was great playing with you. Bye!